Hello everyone, welcome to the BioClean channel. We're going to talk about making sand snakes. You've probably heard that term from me in the past. People have stumbled through it on their own, trying to do it through the verbal instructions that I've given them. We're going to make a video to actually help you with that. We know that reclaiming is becoming more and more of a priority, and so it's very important that we know how to make this on your own. So let's follow through and see what we can do with regard to this. Take a look at the materials we're going to need here. First of all, you're going to need the sand snake material. We obviously have that. You probably have seen that in the past. Just a kind of fibrous material, woven, and this does not break down with the chemicals. So that's why it's very important that we use that particular product. It's a polyester built product. So in addition to that, we're going to need a torch, and you'll see why shortly. We're going to need some tools besides that. So 7/16 wrench, combination wrench, even small socket and ratchet would be nice. We're going to call this the spike. We're going to need the spike, and we're going to have these parts, a lot of these parts available, so in the kit form, so you can make it on your own. Just order up, and it'll be very easy to make on your own too. In addition to that, you're going to have what I like to use is probably a nut driver. That's going to allow you to install and remove this screw clamp, and you're going to need that to clamp the material down on the funnel, which is right here. I made this funnel, and it's a very easy thing to make. I bought these parts over at my local hardware store, Go Menards, but this is a 6-inch to 4-inch reducer. I've coupled that with another 4-inch to 2.5-inch reducer, and I glued them together with PVC glue. And so hopefully, I've never used this in the past. I've used something that was a lot more hacky, but this appears like it's going to be a lot more solid, and hopefully it'll take up the abuse that we're going to give it here in a little while. Let's take a look at the fasteners you're going to need. We're going to need 1/4 inch by 3/4 inch stainless steel bolts. See those on there. We're going to also use some flat washers, stainless steel 1/4 inch flat washers. And last but not least, I recommend the stainless steel nylon lock nuts, so we don't have to worry about lock washers and such to keep everything together. So what is it going to look like when we're done fixing the end? We have an example. I was just kind of playing with it just a little while ago, but basically when you're all done with the end, this is what it's going to look like. So you're going to see your bolts, your washers, washer on the back, and of course your lock nut on that side. So we're going to see in this case that the material is folded over a total of 4 times, and by using these fasteners you're going to clamp it together, and it's going to prevent the sand from leaking back out. So that's going to be your end result. Last thing we're going to need is what? The sand. Yes, exactly. So we live in Minnesota, so they make these bags to put in the back of your truck so you can get traction, but I think they also use them for like playground sand and things of that nature. So you'll probably find that very easily at your local hardware store. So maybe give that a try. This is 70 pounds. I do not know what the magic formula is. We're going to make a 10-foot long sand snake approximately. So I'm not sure exactly how much you're going to need, but I do know you're going to fill this about 70% of its capacity. You do not want to fill it completely, only 70%. So we're going to show you why. Okay, so you just heard me say that we are going to fill that to about 70% of its capacity. Now, why do we want to do that? Why 70%? Why not 100%, right? Let's take a look at it. So here we have this line. It's going to represent our impermeable surface, like asphalt, which is what we're going to put the sandbag on. All right, so here's number 2. All right, so if we do at 100%, think about how that's going to look. This is going to be kind of a side view of that. So that's 100% filled to capacity. This one here is 70%. Now if we look at these two, we think, well, what do we have here for surface area that's actually touching and blocking our water over here? Okay, we see here, we have a very small surface area that's actually touching. So because that surface area is so small, probably a good chance that a little bit of water, because this surface that we're putting it on isn't going to be perfect, so there's a good chance a little bit of that water might dribble past our sand snake. It's not what we want. We want something like this. Look at this. So in this case, when we're at 70%, that area that is in contact with the surface that we have as far as the ground or asphalt or whatever it is, when we have our water here, there's a lot less chance that our water can get past that because it's got a long distance to actually cover it. So that's why we're going to fill our sandbag to about 70% of its value. So in this case, how do we know it's 70%? When we think about it, if it's 10 feet long, so let's say it's 10 feet long, we're going to fill 70% of it, or in other words, 7 feet to its capacity. So it's a real math equation. Even I can do it, and I came from a small school. So we're going to fill about 7 feet of it to full capacity, and then when it's filled, we're going to stretch it all out and lay it all out to the 10 foot, and you're going to see about 70%. That will help us achieve that nice wide footprint that is contacting the surface of our asphalt or concrete or whatever else we're seeing. So all right, so let's start to do that, and we'll lay that out here right now. All right, so now we come over to our next step, and as we see, we've cut our length of material that we're going to want. This is about 10 feet, and we've actually crimped the one end. So this is when we're going to use our teaching example. So yes, we want to make sure that one end is crimped off, and that's what we did by setting it up with our bolts, nuts, and washers and such. So that's done. So now we can lay that out, and we're going to attach the other end to our handmade, homemade funnel, which actually I think will work really good. So we're going to wrap that material around the outside edge of the funnel, and then we're going to use our screw clamp and tighten it down, and if we're fortunate, it will not slip off. So what I did to help with that, although you probably can't see it with the camera, but you can see the surface is very shiny, very slick. What I did on this area that we're going to clamp down on is I've kind of roughed it up. You can do that with sandpaper. I believe I used a kind of a little surface grinder, but any of those things will work just to kind of rough that surface up. So let's do that at this time. Make sure we put our screw clamp on before I forget. We're going to rotate this right onto the surface, like so. Make sure your screw clamp is loosened up enough so this will clamp on a lot easier. Looks fairly good all around the sides and edges. It's not loose, so plenty of room. All right, so it looks like it's in position. That's where we take our nut driver and tighten down our screw clamp. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to set this up on sawhorses. I've personally never done this on a sawhorse. I usually use a forklift, but I know that many of you probably don't have that option. So we're going to do it on a sawhorse. So we take our funnel. See, you've got some flat spots on here. We're going to set that up on the sawhorse. Try and keep this together as best we can. And now you see it's nice and sturdy on there. Great. So we're going to pour a amount in there. It's actually going very well. And I'm able to inhale a lot of dust, which I appreciate as well. You might want to get a fan going just to kind of help you with that. All right. So what I typically do in the past anyway, I fill it until, as we see in the funnel here, it starts to fill the funnel. Just going to lift it up and try and get that sand to the bottom of our tube. So now we've got that one done. And then we're going to do it all over again. So we put this back up, set that in place. Let's pour a little more sand. And as we do this, the bag's getting lighter and lighter, so good for me. Fill it up until there's no more that can fall in there, like so. take it out, work it a little bit, and same thing. Work that sand until it gets down to the bottom there. I've had this question before, why stop at 10 feet? Why not make it 20, 30 feet long? Then you can work with the material a lot better, right? Well, as you might imagine, let's just say that one of these bags goes in there. That's 70 pounds that you're working with in a sand snake. I think we might even take more than that. We'll have to see. But they get to be very heavy. And then think about this. You have them laying in the water, and they become a real mess to deal with when you're pulling them back up, or your people. So I don't like having more than, I think the longest I've ever made is 15 feet. That was a major pain to deal with. Try and keep it around 10 and just have more of them and kind of couple them together. That's really the best solution with that. Close here now. So I'm going to put just a little more in here, but I think we're going to be pretty good here in just a minute. So let's give that a try. Not much. Yeah, I think that looks really good. So we are done. Let's move this out of the way so you get a better view of it. So we see how that sand is just laid in the bag. Looks like we have about a foot of material to work with, and we're going to use about 6 inches of that, 7 inches maybe, to put our seal on the end, and then we'll just kind of spread the rest of that sand out overall. So I think that's a really good way that we did it, and it should work out great for us. So let's go ahead and seal that up. We'll show you how to do that with our spike. Okay, so now we come to the point where we're going to seal the end off, and this is going to be the fun part, especially for all of us firebugs. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this over, give it about a 1-inch spacing or so, as you see with here. Fold it over again, and fold it over a third time. That will give us 4 layers of material, as you can see, hopefully, in the video. We're going to have 4 layers of material. And we're going to make a hole with our spike that we talked about earlier. We're going to insert our bolt with the washer, the nut, and so on through there. But let's go ahead now. We're going to heat up that spike, and then once it's hot, we're going to bring this right over the top. You'll see it actually puncture a hole because of the heat, and you'll see it smoke and all sorts of things, but that's the point we're going to make that hole and get it rolling. So let's go ahead and do it. I want to heat that spike so it just starts to turn red. I found that to be the best amount. So get our torch going. We'll start to heat that up. Doesn't need to be a great big flame or anything. And again, we're just going to heat up the pointed part of that spike, 1 inch or so. Just going to move the torch back and forth over it. First time you do it, once it's been cold, it will take a little while longer to heat it up. It's starting to heat up here now. Always be mindful that this is hot. You see, look at it now. Well, you can't really see it in the video probably, but it's just got a little bit of a red end to it. Getting more and more red. Can you see that in the video? Or? Yeah, no. It's starting to get hot. So now we know that's nice and warm. We take that. We're going to put 4 of these in there, so you space it off just a little bit. Just push it down. Keep your fingers away from it. There you go. Get your bolt with the washer on there. Stick that through. Get your other washer on the back side. And one of your lock nuts. Get it started. And then you can use your wrenches that you've got. Again, that's 7/16 wrench. Crank it down. It's tight. So, 1 down, 3 to go. some more. First person to actually watch the video, make a comment about it, you get this on your next order. So be active. Try and tune in as often as you can. And who knows, we might do this on future videos as well. We'll see. So make a comment right away. Thanks again.